Hey guys, how are you? Hope you guys are doing good. So today, I don't know how I look, but yeah, let's get it. Let's get the camera rolling. So today, if you see me looking down, just now I'm looking into my notes. Today I'm just going to talk to you guys. It's been a while. So today I just want to share with you a few things that I wish I was told when I was starting this business. The sewing business, sewing specifically, not the ready to wear or anything, but the sewing business. So this is for every beginner, and yeah, stay tuned and don't repeat the mistakes I made or the things I wasn't told. So if you want to get to know that, I'm just going to share with you a few things. They're about 13. We shall see. So yeah, stay tuned. Keep watching the video and don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, guys. The channel is growing and all thanks to you guys. So yeah, I really do appreciate. So let's get into the video. Alright, so number one, things I wish someone had told me before I started the sewing business. So number one, guys, one of the things I struggled with most was changing my needle. Like I would have to wait for my needle to actually break for me to change it. I didn't know that. Like seriously speaking, whatever I'm going to tell you are my personal experiences. I never knew that I had to change my needle with time. I never knew that if I was working on a certain material or a certain fabric, I had to change the needle. So just a little recap. I remember when I was starting out, I was making this, I don't know how to call this fabric, but it's like silk. It's like a silk fabric. And initially I had been sewing on African fabric, Ankara, the cotton ones. So I had that needle in for a long time. I was using it to sew these cushion covers, and these are all cotton materials. So one day I get a client who walks in and they tell me, I want such a dress in this material, which is like silk. Okay, not really silk, but it's close. It's like close to silk and chiffon. It's those lighter materials. So I'm like, okay. I get to cutting. Then guess what? Time for stitching. I stitch, but then the thread keeps, I don't know how to explain, it keeps bringing in those bowlines. Like, you know, when you're stitching and the thread is old, if you've done it before, when the thread is old, it keeps pulling on the threads of the fabric. So you would find those bowlines, like the threads have been pulled out, and the cloth was looking funny. But I didn't know what the issue was. I oiled my machine, I did everything, but the problem was with the needle, and I did not know that. I actually got to know that months later, that I needed to change the needle. So one of the things you have to learn to do is change your needle. So then number two, since I've already spoken about it, oil your machine. Guys, you need to oil your machine, because if you do not oil your machine, it's not going to move smoothly. Be it industrial, be it manual, whatever machine you have to oil it. The way you oil your car is the way you should oil your machine. Me, I do it depending on the workload that I've been having, but if my workload is very heavy, I do it like once or twice a week. If it's not so heavy, once a week is enough, or sometimes once in 2 weeks, because there are times when I go sometime without actually sewing. So yeah, you have to oil your machine, otherwise it's going to keep making a certain funny noise which is irritating, and then it will also not be moving smoothly. Like it does not move. It's like when you oil your car. The first time out of that garage after oiling it, the result, it moves so smoothly. That's exactly the same way your machine is going to move smoothly. So next, pinning, guys. You need to pin. There are fabrics you cannot work with without pinning. There are fabrics you can work with without pinning, but then there are those you can't, such as silk fabrics, all those slippery fabrics. All the slippery fabrics, that's chiffon, that's silk, that's satin, all those, I don't know, some of them have different names in different countries. So yeah, there is lycra, there is all those fabrics that keep shifting. You need to pin, my dear. You need to get those pins, these ones. Yes, you need to get them. And it would also be better if you get like a cushion, like a pin cushion for your, this one was from a doll. Just these dolls, these Christmas dolls that used to have like a kahat here. Yeah, I just got this from there and used it. You can make your own. There is one that I had made. You see, there are those ones for the wrist, like this one. I made this one for my wrist, but then I actually ended up not using it. So this is just elastic, and then here inside I put a fiber for pillows, so you can just pin while you're working. But I find this easier for me. But yeah, you need to pin your fabrics. So you pin your fabrics so that they don't keep moving around. With cotton fabrics, yes, you can work without pinning, but if you're a beginner, you're not yet used to, like, accustomed to the way things work, it's better you actually pin, because right now I'm speaking to beginners. The other thing is patterns. Patterns are very important when you're a beginner. Right now, I draft on fabric. If you've watched most of my videos, actually most of my tutorials, I draft on fabric itself, unless the fabric can't be drafted on. Now, like silk fabrics, or you have to cut out certain darts, and then when you cut out on fabric, it's going to be wasted. That's the only time I actually get down on pattern drafting on paper. But it is also very important. I have my patterns here. I keep most of my patterns, all the patterns that I've made, I keep them. And normally, let me show you, even when I'm keeping them, I pin them. Where are my pinned patterns? This is all. I have my pinned here. You see, guys, I'm very organized, by the way. So I have my patterns in here in this folder, and I'll always pin them together. You see, like this, I pin them together. Now this is an eye mask with a face mask. These ones are for the travel pillows. Like every piece on the travel pillow, even the different sizes, I pin them together because these are two different sizes, and keep them for future use so that I'm not going to go again and start drafting. This is a sleeve pattern for an off-shoulder dress with the off-shoulder. You see, you can see, and they are named off-shoulder sleeve. Then the things that I actually have to do, add seam allowance all around and all, and then I pin them and keep them and store them away in my folder. So I have a full folder, as you can see. I have a full folder of patterns, be it skirt patterns, like those repeated ones. I tend to make patterns for them and then store them away, so that for bonnets, things that I keep making in bulk, I just have a pattern, pin it and store it away, and have it written down that this is this. So keep that in mind too. Then pressing or ironing is really important, guys, especially if you're a beginner. One of the hidden secrets that ironing does is it makes a bad sewist look like a professional. You get? So if your sewing is mediocre, because you're a beginner, you're still learning, you're learning left, right and center, it helps you, like the work looks very neat when you've ironed it, like when you're done and you've ironed it, it looks very neat. The client will be so pleased. So yeah, make sure you have to incorporate ironing in all your works, so that it makes you look like a professional. You look like you know what you're doing. You feel me? So and then the other thing is it helps with the seams, like to make the seams look neat. The seams are these, like this is a seam. Wherever you see a thread, like wherever you see a joining of one part of the fabric to another part of the fabric, that's the seam. So it makes that look neat. And then when you're making things like corsets, my corsets are far, I would have showed you one, but when you're making things like corsets, here where there are curves, especially here at the bra area, yes, especially where the boobs sit, you need to iron that. And then you need something like this. I don't know the name of I think it's a tailor's ham. I don't know. I'm not going to make any mistakes here, so I don't know. Get something like this. This is stuffed with cut-offs of fabric. I stuffed it with cut-offs of fabric and just made this casaco. Very simple. Fill it up and then sew it. As you can see, it's not professional in any way, but I use it when if you've watched my corset video, the previous video that I posted where I was making a corset joining, the part two of the joining, you get to see how I actually use it. So you put it under you, like you put the fabric on top and then iron on top of it. It helps you to iron the curves, you get. So yeah, you need to iron, like you just need to iron. Then yeah, don't be scared to cut that fabric. I also remember I used to be scared to work on those silky fabrics, the satin fabrics, the chiffon fabrics, because of the way, like, because I've also had clients bringing me their clothes that have been taken to different tailors or seamstresses, and they've spoiled them because they don't know how to cut chiffon. They don't know how to work with these different fabrics. I used to be that kind of person, but me, instead of spoiling, I would tell you I won't be able to make it. I would make up an excuse. But now, yeah, bring it on. Bring on whatever fabric you're bringing. So don't be scared to cut that fabric, but do research for certain fabrics, because now there are fabrics like chiffon. Before you cut it, you have to hang it. When you hang it, it drops, like it pulls itself down, it droops to a certain level. So you have to hang it overnight so that you can get the full length out of it. You get, before say you hem it. So me, whenever I'm going to hem my chiffon fabrics, I first hang them overnight, and then so that I can get the real base, because some of them drop, some don't, but some do drop. So if you finish hemming a fabric that actually drops, what if you're done and then it keeps dropping and then it's longer than what you expected? You get. So you have to make sure whatever you're doing, do research on all the fabrics, you get. So yeah, do research and don't be scared to cut those fabrics. Do not be scared. Then another thing is, I don't know which number I'm on, I'm just giving you guys things. Some I'm just remembering now, like the scissor thing. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but have a minimum of 2 types of scissors. One is for your papers, your pattern papers, and one is for your fabric. I made a mistake, and you know, making mistakes is how you learn in most cases. So one time I made a mistake of cutting pattern paper using my fabric scissors. Then when I reached to cut the fabric, it was not cutting very well, it was keeping, so I kept wondering what could have been the problem, until someone actually told me, did you ever use your scissors for cutting paper? I'm like, yes. So she told me that was the problem. So now you just need to buy new ones. So now right now I actually have 3 pairs of scissors. So these are the old ones, the ones I spoiled first. Now these ones remained for papers. Now for fabric, I have the other side. I have two for fabric. I have one for cotton, which is hard enough for cotton. It has been working for a while. Now I got a new one recently that I use for the silk, the chiffons, those light fabrics, because for it I want it to be so sorry about that commercial break. So yeah, I'm back. So yes, about the scissors, get scissors for the different fabrics. Get a scissor for your cotton fabrics, get a scissor for your papers, your pattern papers, get a scissor for your silk fabrics, get a scissor for your hard fabrics, the denims, the linens, those ones, those strong fabrics, get a scissor for them. And then next, test your fabrics. That one, I think I've already spoken about it. Test the fabrics. Can they collaborate with another fabric? Do they draw? Do they fall down? I don't know. They're fabrics. Let me give you an example. Fabrics like chiffon fabric. That one, there is chiffon fabric that actually drops, like it rolls over. When I'm going to hem chiffon fabric, I make sure I put it on a dummy and it stays overnight to see if it's going to drop or not. You get? Because chiffon fabric, there is certain chiffon fabric that actually drops, that won't stay in one place. When you make it stand, it will stand and pull itself down because it's a bit heavy. There are fabrics that do that. So test your fabrics, test your different fabrics, test the stitches that are going to go on those different fabrics. There is stitching that goes on cotton that does not go on chiffon fabric. On chiffon fabric, you're supposed to give it those nice loose stitches, medium loose. Don't give it very tight stitches. Very tight stitches can tear the fabric. Remember, it's very light, it's very soft. It could easily tear. If you've watched or you haven't watched my traditional wear, Randy's traditional wear video where I was making Shanana, their traditional outfit, you can go and watch that. The stitches I made were medium loose, they were just enough. Remember that the garment is not tight on the person, so it was okay. So yes, know the kinds of stitches that go on certain fabrics. Test out the fit. How does this fabric fit on a person? Let's say stretchy fabric. Stretchy fabric fits very differently from silk fabric or cotton fabric. There is cotton fabric that has a bit of a stretch, slightly a stretch. There is silk or satin that does not have a stretch at all. There is now the stretchy fabric, those jersey fabrics that actually stretch. Know how to go around them according to the measurements of the person. You get? If it means not adding seam allowance on those stretchy fabrics, do not add any seam allowance on those jersey fabrics, because at the end of the day, the more allowance you add or the more inches you add, you're going to make it big. Yes, it's supposed to be snatching the client's body. So yeah, do those different tests and